Welcome to the Archotechs, a RimWorld fluid ideology series about pursuing the Archonexus. Episode 67, A Better Perimeter. To briefly recap last episode, we managed to push ahead the research for advanced components, and what I'm going to be doing is pivoting towards gunsmithing in hopes to get some gun turrets to protect our colony. We had also removed a considerable swath of the wood that was in the colony, so that if we experience raiders or fires, we're a little bit better protected. There's obviously more work to be done there. And the goal of this episode will be to improve defenses and maybe, perhaps, improve the relationship we have with our neighbors that we need to ally with. So one of the things I'm going to do here for making this wood hauling a little bit faster is I'm going to schedule the slaves inside here so that they merge the stockpile zones, because as they are doing now, they're just hauling one or two wood over at a time. As you can see, Bunny is doing that, and that is a complete waste of time. So I took Bunny and Zaleb off of hauling, and I'm going to put them on mining and hunting instead. And then these slaves are going to merge all of the individual pieces of wood into a few stacks, and then we'll haul it over all together. The other alternative way to do this a little bit faster would be to set it up so that we caravan it, but this is just a way to avoid the caravanning mechanic that people don't much care for. So in order to get gun turrets, I need gunsmithing and blowback, and then I'm also going to want to mine out some uranium. The two types of turrets for mini turrets that I typically make are uranium ones and plasteel ones. Steel if I absolutely have to, but steel mini turrets get destroyed really quickly, so they're just not ideal in any way, shape, or form. Uranium and plasteel turrets do not burn, so they can't be set on fire, which hardens them from raids considerably. But one thing that you need to do in order to make those is to mine up the material. Now, I typically don't make plasteel mini turrets because they're very expensive, and usually you don't have a lot of plasteel to waste on stuff like that. So instead, I will have Bunny make them out of uranium, like I have in the past. Another thing I want Zaleb to do is to... Oh, she's already doing it. Is to haul the weapons out of the stockpile into the weapons room, and then probably set up a smelter job just to destroy them. So that we can get rid of them and not have an issue having them sticking around the base. But that wouldn't be a Zaleb task. Zaleb doesn't do crafting, so it would have to be No Luck or someone like that. The heat wave should be over pretty soon, so I'm not going to worry about setting up passive coolers or anything like that. We did lose a whole lot of beer as the result of the heat wave. The fermenting barrels that were up here were spoiled due to temperature. It's not something that we addressed in time. All right, let's take a look at Bunny. So Bunny is mining out some additional steel because for us to be able to get the components that we need, we are indeed going to need a lot of steel. And then I'm also going to want to make advanced components as well. So 30 components and 10 advanced components, and that will lie squarely on Trust's shoulders to source. Now, another thing to note is the advanced components are going to take some gold, and we're already competing with reliquaries, which I have not yet queued up, but reliquaries are also going to require gold as well. Problem is I don't really have a spot to put the reliquaries at the moment, so we're gonna have to figure out exactly where they're supposed to be. Maybe one here and one there. I suppose I'll start to set that up now. Now, there is some overhead mountain issues and pathing problems. And then, of course, if I set the reliquaries up in that location, it will clip into where the wind turbine's set up. So it means a loss of the wind turbine. So maybe I'll just make the northern reliquary first, and then one other reliquary over here, delaying the time that I have to figure out where to put this wind turbine, or to replace it and move it. Actually, nope, I can't place it there, because there is overhead mountain that I didn't account for. Alright, back to just this spot. And then maybe have it dip into the stock room. Dropping this wall downwards and putting the last two in the bottom. I don't really have to figure out just yet, because I don't have the gold for it anyway, so it's not something that needs a solution at the moment. But we should rebuild those walls quickly so that the Arctic platform is respected. So that's something to be done. All right, the heat wave is over. And Trustin is back to making components for us. And Bunny mining up steel. Gunsmithing is done. We're going to head to blowback and gun turrets. And then maybe, a bit of a long shot, but just maybe we'll get the geothermal generator. That would be ideal, but I'm not going to hold my breath, because I don't think it's likely to get that much research in one episode. No, another thing I can do with the unwanted tribal weapons is to bring them to the Brio people and gift them. So that's currently my plan. And then taking a look at my food stockpile, I think after this rice is harvestable, I'm going to change it over to cotton. So I know I have a little bit of cotton over here, but this relies on outside temperatures being temperate in order for the cotton to be able to be harvested. But now that we are later in summer, and I don't think a lot of this cotton is going to be harvestable all that much before it gets too cold, I think relying on that harvest is not a great idea. Come on, no luck, wake up. Geez, sleeps forever, do ya? There we go. So now they are production control, feeding off of one another. Just the way we wanted. Alright, so down here, Bunny has already amassed a good few hundred steel. So I'm going to push towards uranium for the turrets. So that's our next task, is to get that uranium. Wouldn't be terrible to get the components down here. Now that we can manufacture them from scratch, I can just exploit all the components that are left on the map tile at no real loss. So there she goes, heading to the uranium ore. And my slaves are heading out to Stonecut. Now, I'm sure a whole lot of you would like to see me handle the ancient dangers, so maybe I put that on the schedule as well. I think it's long past due, at least the ancient danger on my home tile gets addressed. I don't particularly expect a whole lot out of it, however. I think that we'll probably clear it, kill most of the people inside, because I'm not planning on trying to heat trap them or do any other tactic in order to force them into servitude or anything like that. So tomorrow morning, with Sven and Bunny's psi focus at max or near max, that ancient danger will be cleared. Also have to keep a close eye on my power levels because we're not really generating a whole lot of power. I haven't really added a whole lot of renewables. With minimum wind, our batteries are draining, so that's something to always be on the lookout for. Bunny is back down here, mining the rest of that uranium. And unless I use uranium slug turrets, there's not a lot of need for tons of uranium in a colony. Unless you really love blunt weapons to bash people over the head with uranium clubs and the like. I mean, I suppose if you do, good for you. It's not exactly what these Archotechs are about. So there's still nodes of plasteel left, but that's about it. There's not a lot of nodes of anything else but steel and plasteel. Plasteel's great. It's just not the gold that we need. So with 1,700 blocks, it might be a good time to tile up some additional facilities. Or to make what was wooden walls stone, so they can't be set aflame. So one thing I might be able to do is to set up a limestone fence for my horses. One of the advantages of a limestone fence, if I could figure out how to set this up where it is not too swampy. So let's take a look at terrain affordance. Oh man, this is bad. One advantage of the limestone fence is we can trigger our guys to automatically clear the trees in the zone without having to like individually select them. So that is a really big enclosure for the horses. And I'm going to have my farmers clear out any trees that are blocking the terrain. Let's put in a little wooden fence gate here. So it's not going to be grazing season year-round, but at least this allows me to rely less heavily on simple meals in order to feed the horses when they can graze. And then all of the tough-to-cut trees I'm going to queue up with Sven so that my constructors aren't stuck doing that. That would also be a good task for Bunny as well. So I'm going to have Bunny work on that too. I did promise that I would go clear the ancient danger, and, well, I try to keep my promises. So, despite the fact that I was working on the paddock, or the stable, or pasture, whatever it is, let's head on down. So, I'm going to break into this so I can see what's inside before fighting it. It's a centipede. With our Psycass, it actually shouldn't be too bad to take out. So Bunny is going to hit Berserk on the, I don't know, pikeman, let's say. And then I'm going to open up a clear path to be able to fire on the centipede, which should be firing on the pikeman. And we'll hit it with a stun. I probably should specify who's stunning, so Bunny. Managed to get a volley off. Let's dip out of its range so it starts firing on the pikeman. Nope, the pikeman's no longer berserked. Alright, there we go. Our very, very high pen rifles make very short work of that group there. I was somewhat sloppy in allowing them to even fire on me in the first place. And what do we have in here? We have got 6 caskets, a whole lot of steles. A rifle, that's cute. Just about the last thing that I need in this colony. And then a soother. And 2 Glitterworld meds. So next up, we'll be opening up the caskets after people heal up. So that would be no luck needing to heal. And Sven, I am going to take off of grow and plant cut so we can go back to researching full time. I think Bunny could probably handle the rest of the plant cutting in this giant pasture. Gun turrets are done, and we're going to head over to geothermal power now. So with gun turrets completed, once this pasture is done, I'm going to get some mini turrets so that we can automatically defend ourselves with much more ease than relying upon the combat prowess of our colonists. And that is the last tree that is blocking me, as far as I know. So we are good to fence it all up. One thing I do not have for this pasture is the ability for the horses to get somewhere warm during the winters. What I could do is incorporate the wood-fired generators into the pasture so that the heat of the generators keeps the pasture warm. That would be probably the easiest, laziest way to do it. So I'll be setting that up soon. Does mean that because of the terrain affordance of this marsh, it's likely to be a wooden barn enclosure. Because there's really not an alternative, I guess. The long and short of it. I'm going to put the venometric cell inside so they can't be stolen easily. Trado's many friends. 55-year-old is being chased. It's a charity quest, so almost by definition, I will not accept. All right, so then the way I want to design this sort of hurts the wolves' ability to like move where they want to move, but it's going to be something like this, where we have... I don't even really need vents, do I? Let's just do a marble wall like this, and then a wooden wall. Where we need wood. And the wolves will pass through... We'll just set it up so that the wolves pass through the heated area on their own. Also, the cooler will output hot air in here as well. It, to be honest, might get too hot. I don't even know. So then at the top of this, we'll put a animal flap so that they can enter the paddock themselves at will. Stick that here. And then this is an area that we're not going to clean once we get the corpse pile that is already there cleaned up. Few trees have propped up, or rather cropped up, while we were building that perimeter fence. Now, it's not a great idea to have wooden walls next to a battery that could explode, but yeah, this is good enough. We're almost done with that perimeter wall. And then this barn is indeed pretty hot. Yeah. It has no problem retaining heat warmer than ambient. So even in the middle of the winter, it should be a pretty toasty place to for the horses to hang out. All right, next up, moving the post. I'll stick the post there. And that finishes up the horse enclosure. Also means I don't need to be able to, I don't need to supply meals for them. Because they'll be able to graze. So animal handling is left up to Zleb, so Zleb should be moving the horses soon. Yep, there we go. And now everything out here is unnecessary now. So I'm going to be removing these doors, these vents, removing the roof. I'm not really sure why I had skulls in the barn. But I did. Kind of unnecessary, but remove the skulls, and then it might be wise to add a chimney back here to keep the coolers protected from raiders. Right now, all of the food is being spoiled, or is in the process of being spoiled because of a lack of walls, though. So let's get those walls built ASAP. Okay. Oh, this is not enclosed because there's a corpse, a grizzly corpse, propping open the door. I'm going to go have a slave move it. All right, now it is properly enclosed. Perfect. And then auto cut, I'm going to say trees are fine. So all the trees that are inside this pasture will be cut down and tended to automatically. What is the top temp? 45C? Because, yeah, it's getting pretty hot in there. So that's another concern, but of course I could always leave the door open for it. Covert complex hacking. Perfect. So this is for the Relic of Hegemony, and we can accept that whenever we want. We'll be heading there soon. Generally, I like to put chimneys on the inside of my bases so that they have a little bit extra protection, but the way I design this doesn't really allow it. We do have some of the mares, well, the foals now aging up to mares. So it might be a good idea to run yet another caravan to gift things to the Brio people. I do think that I want more art before I do that, though, because we just haven't produced a whole lot of art yet. And then I'm going to have my slaves do some cleaning because the base is getting pretty disgusting. An Imperial Trader from the Empire of the Moon and brother of colonist Slave 1. Or not really colonist, but brother of Slave 1. So there's a little bit of uranium left over there. And I think one of my wolves was heading to go pick it up, which is great. Money has a little bit more mining components left to do, and then we have to pop these ancient cryptosleep caskets open. So where's this trader? Oh, they're moving slow. I did mention that I wanted to change over to cotton. So even though Bunny just finished sewing, I'm gonna swap that over. Let's see here. I'll sell them the charge rifle and the packaged survival meals, minus just a few of them so that Bunny can go on excursions, and the soother for silver. And some random pigs have joined me, but on the wrong map tile. Got it. We're about halfway to geothermal power, so I take it back. Maybe it's possible to do this all at once. The other thing that I wanted to build was uranium turrets. So I'm going to start to construct uranium turrets just sort of randomly around the perimeter with not a lot of thought as to the position of them. The reason for this is I don't really have a kill box. or a grand design for one yet. So just placing them a little bit everywhere gives me some coverage. Some very basic coverage. And then as time goes on, we can sort of come up with a grand design for them all. i.e. a kill box, but we're not quite there yet. The other thing it looks like I'm going to run out of very quickly is steel. Building all these turrets are incredibly steel intensive. So that means Bunny has to get back to setting up steel for us. In order to try to remove some of the filth that I track into the base, I'm going to add some additional walkways here. So that we track in less filth. Again, this requires steel that I am sort of in urgent need of. But I think it's worth it in the long run, so that we spend a lot less time cleaning. There's not too much I could do about the filth up this way, but at least heading southbound, I've got a lot of it covered. We have a breacher raid of Brio people. Oh, they have a lot of brawling weapons. I almost feel bad for them. There's 35 of them, but the vast majority are brawlers, and they're just going to get completely obliterated by the ranged weapons I'm coming in with. Also, they seem to be moving over mud, which doesn't offer them a lot of cover from gunfire. So this is going to be one heck of an easy fight. Bye, Agua. Now, it's possible that some of these guys are decent slaves. I haven't liked the people that I've been offered to enslave so far. Slave 1, 2, and 3 didn't get raffled, and I don't intend to keep them very long, if I can help it. So, being on the lookout for better people to potentially keep would be ideal. If they survive long enough for them to be captured. Big if. But so far, none really have survived the volleys. And I absolutely don't care enough to take a look at them and then try to isolate the ones that are decent. This is trial by fire. Alright, let's get behind some trees, because they are starting to fire back. So Hun, dead in 5 hours, would actually be a really good slave. The incapable of dumb labor goes away once they're enslaved, so Hun is one that I would like to try to keep. If possible. Because she is a fast learner and kind, and those are pretty solid traits. Plus, she's a very good cook. And doesn't have any permanent health problems. Okay, so let's see who we have here. Careful shooter, pyromaniac jogger. Not ideal. Trigger Happy, Pessimist, Bloodlust. Again, not ideal. Gerbil. Quick Sleeper, Misandrous, Tough. Really good mining. So Gerbil and Hun, I think, are the ones. Gerbil, do you have any health problems? You don't. So then the other thing I'm going to need to do is to set up a place for them. And capture, and capture. And then Bunny, how is your mood? Killed someone 5. I guess you were getting the killing blow on everybody. The others there, I could capture for gifting them to my enemy colony that I'm trying to become neutral with. So it wouldn't be terrible to capture them with the end goal of enslaving them and selling them as a slave. One is missing a leg, but a peg leg is an easy fix. And there we go. Pretty easy, pretty straightforward. I just have to make sure that I am medically attending the ones that need attention. So that would be Gerbil and Hun. Trying to keep them from bleeding to death. And then I'll queue up some additional slave beds for them. Let's do this with Trustin. I think it would be ideal to have the slave housing sort of separated at some point. I don't think this is a good spot. All right, so prisoner, convert, 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 convert. And then I guess it's easiest if I go to numbers and go to prisoners and put them all on simple meals. All right, pen needed. No, I don't need a pen for those guys. Oh, we're starting to get cloth. So once I get enough cloth for a billiards table and for a poker table, I'll be replacing the horseshoe pin and the chess table with higher quality, more impactful recreation spots. The sewing of all of the cotton is done. And I think because I just added these prisoners, I'm going to put a delay on the Ancient Danger over here because I don't really have the capacity to tend to more prisoners at the moment. We're kind of maxed out and topped up. So I'm gonna wait on that. Now something else that we could do is Arco offerings or a conversion ritual or execution. So there are other things that we can do with these prisoners other than just convert them and enslave them. At least the two that I've singled out to become future slaves will focus on conversion, but the other two, maybe we sacrifice them? We'll have to think about that. All right, 2 more production commands. So I am completely out of steel at the moment. And Bunny, oh, redemption wort. Wonderful. Well, I guess we're getting that beer after all. Storyteller decides to just keep sending work my way. And I'm completely okay with this. So Zaleb is heading down to fill the fermenting barrels. And then we'll have to make sure to haul the rest of it as well. Just making sure that these turrets can actually connect to the power grid. There's a whole lot of turrets yet to be made due to a lack of steel. But getting Hun, or rather Gerbil, on the job will help that a lot. Also, you are the Berserker Chief. Oh, of the Brio people. So that's another thing that I could do. These prisoners here are Brio people. I can release them. So I am going to no interact with these two and release them to bring my reputation with the Brio people up. I still want Gerbil and Hun, though. My other slaves are Vema Alliance, so they're not Brio people, and therefore I can't release them for reputation or anything like that. So once these two are healed up, I'll give them the boot and get 24 rep out of it. Not bad. I'm glad I noticed that. So Bunny, I'm going to have you turn over the reins of cooking over to Slave 2 because I need steel, and Slave 2 should be able to keep up with the kick and queue now that we are not feeding the animals any cooked meals. So here she goes digging a compacted steel again. And Trustin's actually idle, which means it might be a good idea to turn on the smelter and melt down stuff. With the slaves not able to enter the throne room, I will need to clean the throne room with colonists. It's probably a good job for Zaleb, but I don't necessarily want to give Zaleb the high priority cleaning because then Zaleb will clean the entire base. So I'll just wait until it's visibly somewhat dirty and then trigger Zaleb to tidy it up. I think that we might have enough cloth at this point to make some of the recreation. So a billiards table I'm going to make out of marble. And then we'll also do a marble poker table. And this will be Trustin tasks. Making sure that I guess allow all and then disallow corpses and chunks from here allows the wolves to basically haul anything they want to this stockpile. All right. Trustian can use some of his aids, so food drop, silver drop, and glitter world med drop. It's very handy to just call those in every time they're off cooldown, unless you really don't want the wealth. How much longer do I have on this wort? About 4 days. That should be fine. I don't think it's at risk. Okay, perfect. So both of the recreation, the higher quality recreations have been started, and I'm just going to make sure that Trustin finishes them up. No Luck can make progress on them, just I don't want No Luck to finish them, because No Luck's construction is 12 and Trustin's is 20. Pretty clear winner there. And that, my friends, is all the time I have. Thank you for tuning in to the Archotechs, episode 67, A Better Perimeter. If you have any feedback or questions for me, let me know in the comments below. If you'd like to join my gaming community, Rhadamant.com has my link to Discord, as does the description of this video. Thank you so very much for watching. A special thank you to my Patreon patrons, Twitch subscribers, and viewers like you that support the channel. I'll catch you next episode. Farewell.